All right, so in this section, we're going to look at how price changes affect consumer optimum. Now, since we uh, since we need um, since in a consumer optimum, the marginal utility per dollar spent needs to be equal. If there's a price change, then this equality will no longer be true. And so basically, we're going to have a change in the consumer optimum as a result of a price change. So recall from our previous example that income was $26. The number of digital apps was 4 at a price of $5 a piece, and the number of portable power banks was 2 at a price of $3. And so that gave us 7.3 utils per dollar across both items. And so there we go. We've got our optimal condition there. Well, what happens if the price of a digital app falls to $4? Well, now when we make our marginal utility per dollar calculation, it changes, right? The apps get cheaper by $1, and when you divide a number by a smaller number, the result is larger, right? So now we no longer have that equality across marginal utilities per dollar. The digital apps are now giving a bigger bang for their buck since they're cheaper. So what that means is basically what I already talked to you about, right? So basically what we have here is we have an equality that becomes an inequality. And so what this means is that the consumer should shift their consumption towards more apps and away from portable power banks, right? So that's exactly what happens. So this consumer, again, should buy more apps now that they're cheaper, right? Which makes sense intuitively. That's generally what people do, right? When things get cheaper, we buy more of them. And that's exactly actually where the law of demand is coming from, downward sloping demand curve. It's coming from this consumer choice theory. So what we're seeing here is exactly what's behind the curtains of the demand curve, and why it's downward sloping, why it has a negative slope. So consumption decisions are summarized in the law of demand, right? The amount purchased is inversely related to price. So a consumer's response to a price change is that, the price goes down, they consume more because the marginal utility per dollar goes up. But then, of course, as they consume more, the marginal utility starts to go down, and so we eventually get back to a point where they're equalized. So this is where the demand curve is coming from, right? We're plotting points here. So initially the price was 5, and the consumer purchased 4 in their consumer optimum. But when the price drops to $4, they would then want to purchase 5 to achieve optimum. And so if we plot those 2 points are points on the demand curve, right?